Liverpool versus everybody. It's a late night edition here. You guys will get it whenever. Thought it made more sense to not go live so late here in the states because most of you are probably knocked out here. It's 9:25 p.m. So obviously it's pretty late where you guys, well, most of you guys are. So start doing the late ones in this format so you guys can see. But yeah, started with that and not even to necessarily have a shot at the fella. I mean, it's more just to show that this whole Liverpool way thing. There was some comment section. There was some comments in the last post that we did, and I'm bringing it up because I feel like I've heard this before, and I personally don't get what the Liverpool way means. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because the same way that you wouldn't want me to kind of paint with a broad brush, bringing up one example of maybe a Liverpoolian not doing the best as far as just as a man, not really presenting himself in the best light, something he did off the pitch, is the same way that I feel like you can't really paint a broad brush about everybody, all Liverpool fans being amazing or, this Liverpool way. Look, people are fucked up. Okay, people are fucked up. People do wild and crazy things, no matter where they're from. Okay, I'm really, really tired of people trying to paint this idea that everybody in Liverpool is great and amazing and they can do no wrong and that's not the Liverpool way or this is the Liverpool way. I don't really go into that. And so my point of posting or starting with that clip was just to show that um, there's a lot of contradictions in the fan base. You got people who try to come out here and say, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be saying this." And to me, what's the difference of saying it on your live watch along stream, which I've never understood watch along streams, but and you saying it on social media. If you're calling Sadio Mane a prick while you're watching, and I get it's emotions or whatever, but the people who leave comments on Instagram, I heard his Instagram page was disgusting, Sadio Mane, on Twitter, that's emotion too. That's emotion too. So what's the difference? I mean, fair play to him. He at the end of the clip you can see he's admitting that he's one of the first to say those things against Mane. But then, so why are you making a video talking about people not doing it? So that's my thing. Listen, imagine the shitstorm that would have been if Mane was called, if Oliver, the ref, made that call, which he should have. Essentially, he should have. I'm glad he did. But it would have been the right call. Can you imagine the shitstorm that Mane would have gotten then? For them to drag back that game to 2-2, I mean, yeah. If we think what Karius got was bad, um, because it would have changed the whole narrative. It would have changed. It would have been such a, even though it wasn't a loss, it would have been such a negative kind of feeling going into this PSG game. And we know Mane has these moments. There was a certain point in that first half where he's just too aggressive, too rash, and he fouls Ericsson, I think, on the edge of the box. There were games last season against Sunderland. I think it was Sunderland. No, was it last season? No, it wasn't last season. Year before that, I can't remember. There was a game, an important part in the season, where we're up. I think it was Sunderland or Bournemouth, and inadvertently he handballs, and they get a penalty, and I think it's a draw for us. And that moment against Son was very rash and very just wasn't necessary really. And I think there was a bit of panic there. Andy Bobby rarely gets beat for pace in the box, outside the box, whatever. And that was a very rare moment. But Son was fresh. He just come off the bench and he got past Robo. And I think Mane probably just thought, I've got to put something on this guy. I got to do something. And the ref missed that one, and thankful that he did, because again that would have been so. Yeah, just imagine what would have happened, what would have been said against Mane. I mean, you see what's being said now, but if that would have happened, that would have been that would have been crazy to see how all Egyptian fans only, which people want to say, would have reacted to that. So yeah. Anyway, look, glad we got that win. Obviously that was good, and it put us in good stead, and it's the perfect way to be going into our first Champions League game, playing against PSG, who we know is undefeated in their league as well, which is not the biggest surprise. So I'll get into like who should start and things of that nature coming up. But also just real quick to get some other things out the way. Danny Ings. I want to shout Danny Ings out. He's doing amazing at Southampton. I think that's 3 goals in 4 matches or something crazy like that. So good for him. And I think for me, that was always the place he should have gone. A team like Southampton. To me, he was never a guy that can play for a top 6 team. It just wasn't there. And that's before all the injuries. He never showed that to him because you can see the injuries don't seem to be affecting him now. So, he needed a place like Southampton where you can go. There's a good atmosphere there. Southampton is a decent place for guys to go and apply their trade. So I think what you're seeing from Danny Ings is not necessarily a shock. I'm just proud of him. I'm happy for him. I'm sure he's pleased to be able to be playing football regularly and being a big part of a team. It wasn't Liverpool. I'm sure he probably wanted that at some point in his career when he came to us. Didn't work out for him, but wish him all the best, and that's just really, really good to see. Also, Milner. I think you could easily see him at the end of the season being the player of the year for Liverpool. I know it's early. I don't want to, jump ahead too much, but what Milner's doing, I'm running out of superlatives. We've all talked about it. You go to any YouTube channel, a Liverpool fan channel, anywhere online, listen to podcasts, everyone mentions Milner at least once. The podcast can totally be about our defense, but Milner will be mentioned because he's just been that amazing. Tracking guys down, running forever. He never gets tired. So Milner has just been a real gem for us. And again, I've spoken about it before. With when he came to our club, there was not much that I thought to expect from him. The fact that under Klopp, he's just become this amazing. I shouldn't say become. I'm sure he's always had it in him, but you're seeing some real special moments from Milner under Klopp, and it's really just amazing to see. So may that continue. And he's one of them guys that he just feels undroppable. He really does. I don't care how old he is. He feel, and that's the thing. People keep talking about his age, but to be honest, when we talk about players and their peak and their kind of really great stretches of their career, I would say it's between mid 20s and early 30s. It's not like he's 36, 37. I think he's 31, 32. So 16 seasons playing professional football is unbelievable. Been playing at a high level for a while now, so we're just very blessed to have him. Very blessed to have him. His communication to the guys on the pitch, you got to imagine that he's amazing off the pitch as well. Very good for the youth. So yeah, there's so much I can say about Milner. But yeah, he's just been really, really amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the lineup. As I said, I'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about Thomas Tuchel, and I think it's interesting that he's allegedly keeping it quiet where Neymar will play. Listen, it doesn't really matter where any of their front three play. If they're going to play, it's about us stopping them. Thomas Tuchel does seem like a guy who might try to throw in a little curveball once the game starts. Maybe have a guy out of position, or maybe start a guy who we didn't think would start. Or he seems like that kind of guy. I feel like he wants to at some point prove to be on the level of Klopp or any other top German. When you think about the German managers, Klopp definitely comes up. Or just guys who've done well in Germany, Pep, Klopp of recent years. So I think he wants to get to that level. I think a lot of especially the younger German guys. I forget the guy that was the manager of Hoffenheim for a while, and then rolled out. I forget where he went, but I think he left. Anyway, I think they all want to, especially Tuchel being at Dortmund. I think he managed that Mainz as well, kind of following in those footsteps, if you will, that Klopp kind of set down. And I think he would love nothing more than to get one over Klopp. We know what happened at that great European night in the Europa League against them, where they looked like they were smooth ahead of us, and we were able to come up out of that tie, as we all know. So I can see Tuchel trying to mix something up, trying to catch us by surprise again, the curveball, confuse us, whatever. At the end of the day, we know how open PSG are going to be. With that manager, with those players, they're going to be open. We're going to have chances. It's our job to limit the chances that they get. And I think that's one thing that I think people are kind of missing. Alisson hasn't really had a lot to do this season so far. And I know the Premier League is different from the Champions League, but just in general, and he hasn't because our front four has been really, really good. And when Gini's playing, that's almost like a 5, a 6. Our front 4 or 5 with it. Because Gini is, as good as he's been, it's almost having like an extra defender. at moments, especially with our guys pushing up. And I love how Genie will slide in as a right back at times if need be. Milner will slide in as a left or right back. So, the fact that our goalkeeper hasn't done much work says a lot about, or hasn't had to do much work, says a lot about just the manager, how he's setting us up, the belief he's putting in these guys, and just the cohesion of that back four. It's really amazing. To not allow shots is a really, really big stat. When you talk about defenses and shots they allow or shots that they don't allow, to me that's a big stat because it really shows how well that defense is doing. If you're keeping teams that have threats on their team from getting shots, you're doing a good thing. So the game will be open, and I believe there will be goals. I believe there will be goals. Again, I'll get to the score prediction and all that, but I think it's more so about us limiting them and what they want to do. What we did against Spurs was amazing. Now, Spurs and PSG are a different class, right? And so it's really about, whatever the things that they love to do, the ways that they enjoy their football, limiting that. What they do during the week against teams in the league, limiting any kind of joy that they try to get. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Tuchel tries to go the way Spurs went. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll go so direct in periods of games. Although if he sees the opening, I think he probably will take it. It's probably best to assume that he would try to hit the left side of our defense up quite a bit to test Gomez, to test Trent, assuming those will be the guys that play. But then again, we never know. Klopp might throw in a curveball. I'm talking about Tuchel, but Klopp might throw in a curveball. And I think, with Firmino, I wouldn't be surprised if you have Sturridge start. Maybe bring Firmino off the bench, or maybe just leave Firmino out of the team altogether. I think it's a long season. You don't want to risk anything. Apparently, they're still doing assessments on his eye. He wasn't in the training session today, earlier Monday. So, I don't know. It's and apparently according to Klopp, Solanke is injured and Divock Origi. I don't know if that happened in the same game or what, or same under 20 wherever they're playing right now game. But so it's up to Sturridge. It's up to Sturridge if that's the way. If Firmino doesn't go to play, and I'm still confident. I'm still confident with Sturridge leading the line that we can do well. Now, do we switch to a 4-2-3-1? Do we change that dynamic, the formation to better equip our team with Sturridge leading the line? I highly doubt it. I think Klopp will stick with the 4-3-3. He loves doing that. He loves that formation. We know what Sturridge brings us. We know what Firmino gives us. Firmino's that guy who's going to track back, dive at guys' ankles, get tackles, be physical with whoever's got the ball on the other side's team, carrying out of the back. Really, really influential to what our wing players are doing, Mané and Salah, and kind of that link between the midfield and the forward players. He's that solo single link a lot of times that connects our play going forward. Sturridge is the guy that fights in the box, get the ball, hopefully get a goal, right place, right time, tap in, can put on a nice assist here and there, can make a move, isn't the fastest as he was before early in his career, but still effective, still can be effective. So I really wouldn't be that concerned. The midfield for me in Liverpool, listen, I think I wouldn't be surprised. We see Henderson in the pre-match presser, and usually those players start, for both teams. Thiago Silva was there with PSG. He's going to start, the captain, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe Klopp just wanted the captain. Maybe I don't know how those things work, but I gotta believe Henderson will play, and I think it'll be that midfield of Henderson, Genie, and Milner. Am I happy about that? No. Do I think we could win with it? Yes, I do. I want to continue to see Naby Keita. I want to continue to see him get more and more game time, and really, really flourish and see his comfort level and the Liverpool side just get better. I want to see his comfort level rise. So, again, at the end of the day, with this team we have right now, I can go into a game and feel like, I don't really like that lineup, but I can always be confident because we've seen this team is worthy of that. They deserve our confidence in them. They deserve, us to, believe in what they can do, even if at the end of games it's not always the most comfortable. So either way, whatever we go with, I'm totally happy with that. I was listening to HH, my brother, the best football analyst around in the world, I believe, and he was talking about he broke down the PSG. Oh, breakdown. He talked about the Liverpool PSG game, and he was talking about respect and the lack of it that PSG are getting. Now, last I checked, PSG, the furthest they have gone is probably as much as I have in my pocket. Do I have any quarters? The furthest they've gone is a quarter, okay, in the Champions League. They have not gone any further than that. So not that that means they don't deserve respect, but they have to show something for people to actually sit back and say, okay, PSG. It's not enough to just have a whole bunch of money and have all these amazing players from all over the world. No, you have to show us something, and until you do, you may not get that amount of respect. You know what I mean? You have to give respect to the game to get respect. It's basically what I'm saying. Every season when PSG gonna do this shit. You got a new manager, you got all these players, Neymar, Mbappe, Cavani, da 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 da. Listen, they have to respect the game and actually do something and represent League in the Champions League for them to get any. And so for me, I if anything, it should be Liverpool. I think there's a good amount of people across Europe who feel like, nah, Liverpool's not that good. They're going to come against PSG. They're not going to be able to stop Mbappe. Mbappe, World Cup winner. Neymar, all those things. And I love what Klopp and Henderson said about Neymar, especially Klopp. All the players have been saying when they've been asked about Neymar. And Klopp was saying that, very, very, he's very measured in his response to the question about Neymar. Very classy in what he said. And he basically was saying, look, Neymar's an amazing player, and you don't reach the heights that he's reached in his career if you're not. Talked about him being injured in the World Cup, and of course they asked him about him flopping and diving and all that. I really respect what Klopp had to say about it, and I think at the same time you never want to give guys ammunition. You don't want to give them bulletin board material because certain players, I don't know if Neymar is built that way, but I know certain players in all different sports, that really fuels them. You start the chapping and running your mouth and all that. That really fuels them. Again, I don't know if that's Neymar or not, but we know Neymar has said some things about us not making the top four, whatever. Doesn't really bother me. Tomorrow, it's all about how we talk, how we do our thing on the field. And I'm excited about it. Mbappe, incredible. Both of those guys, Neymar and Mbappe, incredible. We know what they do. We know who they are. Again, that's why we love football, because anything can happen. All things can happen. Anyone can be beat. Anyone can win. It's a beautiful game, and I think we will win tomorrow at Anfield. We know how that is. We know how the atmosphere is. We know how it can get to players. It can get to managers. It can get to fan bases. And so PSG will travel deep. Believe that. Obviously, I hope that everything is safe with the fans and things of that nature, no matter what happened on the pitch. Hopefully, this whole Champions League campaign, I just really hope that there's nothing off the pitch that's going on. We had several things that happened last season. I think we all know, especially that hit close to home, Liverpool fan base. But hopefully all that goes well. But yeah, it should be a really, really exciting game. And I think, it made the best team win. For PSG, I feel like we know more or less how they're going to look. And like I said, they will attack. In their midfield, I'm really, really interested in seeing how they work with that. Was it Verratti? Obviously, Rabiot, who's been linked to Liverpool. And Draxler, I guess. I don't know how they're going to work that out in the midfield. But, again, that's a place in the game where we need to really assert ourselves, much like we did in the Spurs game. Our midfield needs to stand up, whoever it may be. Whether it's a Fabinho finally making a start, whether it's Genie, whoever it is, whoever's in the midfield, we need to be really strong there. We need to be really, really strong there. Again, I know it's just a few days ago, but we need to repeat that dominance, that stoutness that we showed with the three that we played in at Spurs. But whoever it is, whoever makes up our midfield, need to really, really get stuck in and be a force in that game. And hopefully, again, when we have our chances, we can take them. That's what it comes down to. When we have our chances, we can take them, because we know when we're playing like that, Liverpool can obviously create a plethora of chances. And if I think if you put those teams together defensively, Spurs and PSG, I think that you could say Spurs maybe slightly better, honestly. Back four, keeper even, I think Spurs are slightly better. If anything, they're on the same level. I don't think PSG is better than Spurs defensively. So, again, Premier League is different from Champions League. Total different competition. I think guys' levels are that much higher. It's such a big night. It's a big game. More eyes are watching you. Packed stadium. It feels like it means a bit more sometimes. So, it would be really lovely to. This is this really crazy, scary fixture list. We've gotten one out of the way. We've gotten Spurs. So now, and that's the thing. We really got to focus on each game one at a time. And I know that's obvious and it's cliche, but it's really true. And I love. In the last video, I put in the title, Genie said it best, and I really didn't speak on it because I wanted you guys. I figured you guys knew what I was talking about. But if you don't, after the game, Genie pretty much said, it's not about us making statements. And I know if you go to the Anfield Rap, some different other podcasts, they disagree with Genie. I agree with Genie though. I feel like I get those who don't, and I feel like I get those who think beating Spurs was a massive statement of intent and all that. That's fine. That's cool. What I think Genie was saying was that you're not going to get me coming out here and saying, and nor should anybody, in my opinion, how I took it, should be coming out here saying, oh yeah, this means we're going to do it. Because it doesn't yet. We haven't done anything yet. I mean, we can go on and very well lose every single game between now and City. You know what I mean? That's obviously possible. So I liked what he said because it's reassuring to me and was refreshing to think like, you know what? Remind myself to just enjoy it. It's really nice. Obviously, it's a great start. Amazing start. Better than I could imagine. But at the same time, we haven't done anything yet. We just beat Spurs. Let's not be like them, how they got all excited and hooted and hollered after they beat United as if it was a cup, trophy championship or something. Let's not get that crazy. Let's enjoy it. Let's speak on it. And just keep a level head. Keep a level. You don't want to get too overly confident, too complacent, because it's a long season. It's a long season. Injuries are they come, they go. Misfortunes, being unlucky. So, got to keep our head level and just continue to support the team and just hope that they continue to give their best, which I think they will. We're seeing signs of just some really special things, some different things in this Liverpool squad. That for myself, make me really, really happy and proud going forward. So this is a long one tonight, guys. Thank you for those who came by to see it and see it from minute 1 to the end. I don't do 3 to 6 minute videos here. We do long ones. So for the most part. So thank you for a lot of the new people that have come in the comment sections. Good to see you guys too. If you're ever available to come to the live, please do that. Check it out. Yeah, so that's really always good to see some new faces around on the lives, or just new faces that I've never seen in the comment section. And I appreciate all you guys' comments, and I think the key thing is that we're not always going to agree, and I think that's cool. So I appreciate everybody who gives their honest opinions and can have some dialogue back and forth, whether we agree or not. At the end of the day, we're all supporting the same great club, so that's the most important thing. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll see you guys before the match, halftime, after the match tomorrow. And hopefully we're all in good spirits and have a lot to dialogue about. So we'll see you guys soon. Take care.